Hey there, thanks for tuning in for the top 7 rock cuts of the week. This is Great Basin Prospecting, and we've got a special episode this week because this is going to be Great Basin meets the Great Lakes. All of these rocks come to us from the shores of Lake Michigan, and these rocks all came from a subscriber as well, so huge thank you there. Really cool to be able to cut some rocks from somewhere else on the channel. Welcome back to all the current subscribers. Thank you so much. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you like this video. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first up, we've got this green rock. So this is a nice size rock, about baseball size maybe. You'll see once I open it, but a good solid size rock. It's got this cool little ring of what looks like quartz crystal on the outside there. And then the texture is a bit rougher on that end, and then goes to really smooth here. And there's a little variation, but mostly it's a really nice green color with some lighter areas mixed in. So let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. And that is really cool. The green color comes through really well, and there is some variation. We can see that towards the inside of the rock, we get a little bit of that crystal ring coming through, as well as some of that darker material. But a bit unexpected, the dendrite-like patterns that are going on throughout this rock. This is just gorgeous. So my best guess as to what this is quartz in Epidote, but I'm not totally sure. The patterns on the inside are really interesting and really pretty. Let's take a little bit of a closer look. I think anywhere on the face here would look really beautiful polished. Really cool material. Okay, so next up we've got a fossil coral, and it's a little bit hard to see the pattern and texture from the outside when it's dry. It's a little bit easier to see when it's wet, and we'll take a look at the interior, and that will give us a much better idea of what this is. So let's go ahead and do that. And that is really cool. So we can see the structure much better, and we'll zoom in up top there where that arrow was, and you can see a nice honeycomb shape to the coral. So that means that it is a Favosite and not a Petoskey stone, which is a little bit different. So this is also known as, and I'm not sure how to pronounce this, if it was in French it would be Charlevoix, but I'm assuming that's not how we pronounce it in the US, so it's probably Charlevoix stone, but really, really cool. And we can see the finer interior structure here is still preserved in that microscope shot. Really, really pretty. And let's do one more zoom in here. Really interesting how some of it is replaced blue, and then the crust of it is orange. All right, and next up, we've got a lightning stone, a septarian nodule. These things are so cool. One of my favorite rocks. So they have a rusty brown exterior, if you haven't seen them before, and then they have these really cool white calcite veins that run through the rock, that hopefully run through the rock where we cut it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the inside here, and that is really cool. So this one has a really nice round nodule that is visible in the center with really nice fat lightning bolts that are radiating out from it. Let's take a look at the individual halves, and we also have really nice color variation from the dark brown to black on the outside to the lighter yellowish material to the slightly darker nodule core. And when we zoom in, we can see that there's some fractures throughout that, and there's actually some red in there too. Really, really cool, really pretty. Okay, next up we've got this rock. So from the outside, you can tell this is already something different going on. That white we see is crystallization, and it looks like this is a conglomerate made up of a bunch of roundish rocks. So I have no idea what this is going to look like on the inside. So let's check it out. And that is so cool. Look at that. So this is, I think, a conglomerate of tiny lightning stones that were in the process of forming. So when we take a closer look here at the individual halves, we can see that there are a number of round inclusions, and when we look, we can see that there is a little bit of crystal that is starting to penetrate around the exterior of almost all of them. And then they must have gotten swept up in whatever this conglomerate was, and their formation stopped there. Some of them got a little further than others, but really unique. All right, let's check out this rock. So from the outside, this looks pretty interesting. We have a matrix that is a dark blue color, and then it looks like lots of white inclusions, maybe crystals. They're all pretty similar in shape, all kind of rounded. This side looks like it's stained a little bit. This side, it looks like the matrix and the crystals are eroding perhaps at a different rate there, which is interesting. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. And that is really cool. So I'm not totally sure what the inclusions are. I think that they are crystals, maybe feldspar crystals. Let's take a little bit of a closer look. I think this is porphyritic basalt, but I could be wrong about that. The matrix is a nice, very dark blue color, and the crystal material is mostly white with a little bit of that yellow that comes in a few spots, but really pretty and really unique. I haven't seen anything that looks quite like this. Okay, let's check out this rock. So this is an agatized coral. From the outside, we can see there's little crystal pockets that are all over the exterior, and we can see some of the pattern here on the side from the coral. So let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. And we've got peach. Very interesting. So there are radiating fibrous peach salmon colored crystals that are inside this, or partially quartz replaced geode. And here's a little bit of a closer look, and we can see in some parts it's rounded. Well, the quartz is rounded. So the pink crystals are a type of zeolite, and they are stilbite in particular, I believe. Really, really pretty. And where some of the pink is embedded in the quartz, trying to get you a view of the crystals in that cavity. And I went ahead and took a couple pictures with the microscope, and that's what they look like. Really, really cool. All right, next up, we've got this rock. So from the outside, we can see most of it is a bright red color, which is pretty cool. And then it has what looks like some black streaks running through it, as well as some areas of lighter color. So not really sure what it's going to look like on the inside. I would guess red, but let's go ahead and take a look. And that is really pretty. So there's actually a bit of variation in the red color, although it is the dominant one, and there is a lot more black on the inside as well. So I think this is what you call a Jasper Light, which is a mix of jasper with iron-rich material. In this case, I think the black is hematite, but some really pretty patterns. The black is very dark and the reds are very brilliant, super pretty, and of course I haven't seen one like this before. All right, that's it for this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you made it this far and you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, and thank you again to all the returning subscribers. I appreciate it very much, and I will see you next week.